believe in yourself, study the greats and become greater. And be a scientist. Dissect. No matter what. I mean, I don't care if the whole world is against you or tease you or say you're not going to make it. Believe in yourself. No matter what.
No matter what.
Some of the greatest men that have made a mark on this world were treated like that. You know, you're not going to do it. You're not going to get anywhere. They laughed at the Wright brothers. They laughed at Thomas Edison. They laughed at Walt Disney. They made jokes of Henry Ford. They said he was ignorant. He didn't have a college degree because he dropped out of school. Disney dropped out of school. They even took Ford to court to prove his intelligence. That's how far they went. Yeah. And these are men that shaped and changed our culture, our customs, the way we live, the way we do things. And I think God plants little seeds through people on the earth. And I think you're one, I'm one, to bring some bliss, some escapism, some joy, some magic.
Michael Jackson will always be king. There'll never be another king of pop, a king of entertainment, and there'll never be another Michael Jackson that's for the people. Drake thinks just because he can bot numbers and do whatever the hell it is that he does to make himself seem like he's greater than Michael Jackson, he will never be greater than Michael Jackson. It just won't be. It won't happen. No matter how much his stands crash out and make it seem like these numbers are better than Michael Jackson. The influence that Michael Jackson had on the general public was way out of here compared to Drake. Drake doesn't even have an influence on the general public or on normal day, every life people that are looking for somebody to look up to, because you got to worship something. Let's just be honest. You got to believe in something. And if you believe in the star power of one individual, like people believed in Michael Jackson, then that's what you believe in. Nobody simply believes in that when it comes to Drake. When it comes to him doing things and the moves that he makes to make it seem like he's above all, nobody believes in that. You don't see people passing out at shows for Drake. You don't see people crying and wanting to grab him and touch him just to simply get some of his aura. You don't see that when it comes to Drake. And if you do see it, it's rare. What you do see when it comes to Michael Jackson is people standing up for what's right, because that's what Michael Jackson believed in. He believed in all people coming together and being one. That's what you see when it comes to Michael Jackson. You see a greater fight being fought when it comes to Michael, and you simply don't get that with Drake. All you see with Drake is division. You see him tearing down people left and right to make himself seem like he's greater, which we all know he's not. You just get nothing but division when it comes to Drake. It's the exact opposite when it comes to comparing Michael Jackson to Drake. And let's just be straight. Let's just be straight up. There is no comparison when it comes to Michael Jackson and Drake. Michael Jackson is levels above him and will always be levels above him. There's nothing great about Drake, especially when you find out how many times he's fabricated himself to make it seem like it's really him doing the things that he does when it comes to music. You never had to do that. We never found out anything like that with Michael Jackson. And the reason being is because Michael Jackson really loved what he did, and he loved music, and he loved creating stuff for people. He loved the big moments. You can tell that Michael Jackson was really for the people. And that's what you get when it comes to Michael. Michael Jackson wasn't just anybody. And there's a reason for that. He was chose to be somebody on this earth that lifted up people and brought them together. And that's all it was. When it comes to Drake, Drake tries too hard. That's one thing. Drake tries too hard to be something that he's not. And we all know that he's never going to be close to Michael Jackson. We all know that everything that he tries to do to make it seem like he's better is really just a lie. Like the fact that he had to put cornrows or braids on Michael Jackson's picture, you know, it's just a disrespect to the culture, and it's disrespect to everybody. It's real disrespectful. And if you don't believe that by now, then something's wrong with you. It's really MAGA when it comes to it. And I don't like getting political, but Drake and his stands are MAGA. They're just the MAGA of hip hop. And that's all it is. I mean, you can't tear somebody down and try to rip their legacy up from under them when they're still living big and strong right now, even in their absence. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson will always be king. Michael Jackson has a legacy that can never be touched, and we all know this, just for the simple fact that his biopic just came out and is doing the numbers that it's doing, for the fact that his songs are still on the charts. He's even touching a new generation. He's been doing it for decades. When it comes to Drake, his music is not touching nobody. It's not doing anything for anybody. It has no substance. It has no meaning to it. Drake is simply somebody who even makes music to make himself seem better than other people when we all know the truth and we all know that he's not. You see what I'm saying? You can't fabricate something. You can't make people try to feel something that they don't feel. We always talk about how Drake is from Canada and he's always trying to tear down people from the US. Well, it's true. He cannot come over here and try to change the culture and try to change what's already been done just for the simple fact that he got another little number one on the chart that maybe surpassed Michael Jackson in a way that we've never seen before. You know what I mean? And the only reason he has that is because of body. He has that. His whole career has been a lie, basically. You can't try to put somebody above a legendary person, a legendary artist on the base of lies. You can't do that. Nobody's going to hold him higher than Michael Jackson ever. I mean, the only little thing that he has to say is that, oh, I got another number one that might be one more than Michael Jackson's. Okay, you can say that all you want. You know what I mean? And it's because you've been lying to the people all along. You've been lying to your fans and you've been lying to everybody. People have to open their eyes and see it for what it is. Yeah, we've been tricked into thinking that Drake was really something that he's not. But if you ask me, ever since the battle, people have been coming to their senses and realizing that Drake is really nobody. He's not a real artist. You know what I'm saying? And this past time around, he's lucky that he even got the number one because people were curious what he was going to say about Kendrick Lamar. And once we all heard that, we can tell that the music is not going to be around for a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to really stick with his fans, and it's not sticking with his fans. You can tell by the numbers just how they went down after the very first day of everybody streaming it like they did. I wasn't one of those people to listen to it and stream it, but I do know there's people out there who were curious that wanted to know what the cornball was going to say about everything. So they tuned in just to see if anything has changed, if his music has substance, and even if he grew as an artist. But we all know none of that happened. You know what I'm saying? And you can clearly tell that. So he slipped by and eased by with this number one, which was bound to happen at any time because his fans are ridiculous stans and they'll play his music all night long just so he can beat a record. When it comes to quality music like Michael Jackson, you don't have to do that. You're actually blasting the music. You're listening to it everywhere. You're in the car with your family, with your kids. You know what I'm saying? With anybody, your friends. You can listen to Michael Jackson anywhere at any time. And this is the proven fact that Michael Jackson's a greater artist, because you can't just turn Drake on and you can't just have people get real soulful like that and feel what he's talking about, because there's nothing to feel there. There's nothing to talk about when it comes to Drake's music. Okay? Yeah, it might just be good for a little while, but it has no meaning to it to make it really stick for longer than 2 weeks. Michael Jackson had music that can touch the people that would last forever. I mean, even after we're all gone in this next, 30 years, Michael Jackson's music is still going to be here. Even for the next 40 years or 50 years, Michael Jackson's music is still going to live on. And it probably might even be on the charts or whatever it is in the future. He might top the charts again. And I'm saying might because we don't know what's really going to happen. You know what I mean? But we do know Michael Jackson will live on because Michael Jackson is really the king of this pop stuff in the entertainment business. It was Michael Jackson. Back in the day when people used to look for somebody to entertain them, they looked to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was held higher. You know, people appreciated Michael Jackson way more than they will ever appreciate Drake. Nobody appreciates Drake. When it comes to Drake, we know what we're going to get already. When an album drops from Drake, we already know what's going to be on it. You know, there's no element of surprise when it comes to Drake, and we all know that. You know, Michael Jackson was one to bring the people together, and we have to remember Michael as somebody that just simply never cared what people thought of when it came to him creating his own music, his own sound. You know, that's why he was so successful in the things that he did, because Michael Jackson really took the time to see and to fill out the music, you know, and to make something. He would make a beat or he would make a song, and he wouldn't put it out until it was perfected to the greatest, you know, version of whatever it is that he's doing that he could be. You know, we have to take accountability for what's going on in the culture right now. You know, this channel is about protecting the culture, and I wish everybody would live by that and stand by that, because cornballs like Drake are trying to tear it down and make it seem like there is no culture, when we all know damn well that there is a culture, and that's why people like me and my channel, people like that, are fighting for it. You guys have to pay attention, and we can't just let up like this. Don't ever let up. I can see that the cornball stands are trying to make an argument that we're all delusional and that Drake is way better than Michael Jackson. Even they know in their heart, even their parents know, their family members know that Drake is not better. If you don't have Instagram, Twitter, you know, X or anything like that, Facebook, doesn't matter what it is, if you can't see the major outlets, hip hop outlets, trying to guzzle down Drake and trying to make it seem like he's better than Michael Jackson, you won't know nothing about it, man. I'm telling you, because when you turn on the radio, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a Michael Jackson song. 9 times out of 10 it's going to be a Michael song, and there's not going to be no Drake on. So people like that who just listen to the radio or simply just play their own music, and they don't really look into the tabloids and anything like that to see what's going on in the world, Michael Jackson is always going to be better. There won't be, you know, this propaganda to make it seem like Drake is better than Michael Jackson. You won't see that. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson cared about us. Michael Jackson really cared. That's why when you listen to his music, you can feel that he cared through his music, with everything from Human Nature, you know, They Don't Care About Us, you know, songs like that. Michael Jackson really cared. And it's really unfortunate that there's somebody of this magnitude trying to make it seem like he's better than Michael Jackson. And he's really not trying to make it seem like he cares about anybody. He really just cares about himself. That's exactly why he was waiting for the moment to make a post like that on his Instagram about passing Michael Jackson. You may be able to pass Michael Jackson on paper, but you won't be able to pass Michael Jackson in your own heart and in other people's hearts. Nobody believes that, Drake. I'm telling you, nobody will ever believe it. Nobody will hold you than a higher standard than we hold Michael Jackson. It's just not going to happen. Michael Jackson will always be better than Drake. Michael Jackson will always be the king. And that's something that we have to realize. And I know we do all realize it. But when it comes to protecting the culture, we have to have people step up and speak up and to call out things that are really crazy, just like Drake thinking he's better than Michael Jackson. We have to call it out, man. I'm telling you, we can't let things like this slide. We have to speak up every time there's a cornball trying to change history, because history is all we have when it comes to it, especially when we look back on things. We have to have the right things in history being said or being done so people can know what really happened. You know what I mean? And if people try to rewrite our history, our culture, then we have to fight for that. And we have to make sure that nothing changes and nothing ever will change. You know what I'm saying? So if you see things like this, you have to call it out. Drake will never be Michael Jackson. He will never be better than Michael Jackson. He might as well just give it up already. I'm glad that this whole thing has passed and it's over with, so he can feed his little ego when it comes to beating Michael Jackson on paper, because that's all he can really beat him at. He can't beat him at anything else when it comes to entertaining or making quality music. He's not winning that. Michael Jackson will always be above him when it comes to that. So Michael Jackson, I'm grateful for. You know, I grew up listening to Michael Jackson. I know a lot of us grew up listening to Michael Jackson, our parents, our grandparents, you know, things like that. Really lucky to have somebody or to have had somebody like Michael, you know, in the past. And it's really fortunate for us that we even get to listen to his music now. That goes into, you know, supporting what happened in history, because people still go back and listen to it. It's our history. It's our culture. We still go back and we listen to Michael Jackson. That's the reason why he's charting today still. That's the reason why his movie, you know, Michael the biopic, is doing so well, because people still feel, you know, they still feel something from Michael Jackson. And you can tell that. Years down the line, if Drake ever comes out with a movie or a biopic, nobody will give a goddamn. You know that. Nobody will care. Nobody will care about that movie coming out, because nobody cares now. He's lucky that he has bots and stands to make it seem like he's better than something that he's not. Because if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for all the money that he has to make it seem like, you know, he's better than Michael Jackson, I'm telling you, we wouldn't even be seeing these things. We wouldn't be seeing the fake news that's always being posted, because people work overtime to make it seem like Drake is better when we all know that he's not. You know, we all know that Michael Jackson never had to do anything like that. He never had to do nothing like that. Everything Michael Jackson did was genuine. It was from the heart, you know, and the people felt everything that he did. And that was for a reason. That's why you got people passing out at his shows, crying, literally, real tears for Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson can stand on the stage for literally 5 minutes and the crowd will be roaring, screaming. Now that's something you will never see with Drake. That's something you will never see with him. You'll never see people 50 years down the line rushing to see a Drake movie about Drake. You'll never see that. And we all know that. Man, there's no comparison there. There will never be a comparison. Michael Jackson is the king, and he will always be the king. You know what I mean? The king of pop, the king of entertainment. That's what I'm talking about. Drake will never be that. And we all know that. So, with all that being said, let's fight for the culture. Now, please, if you can, like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And make sure we fight for the culture, man. We have to keep fighting for it. And we have to make sure history is on the right track. Because people like the cornball, Drake, are going to make sure they try to tear it down any chance they get. And we have to fight for that.